If your partner sent you this video, they are trying to convince you to marry them. Just saying. One of my best friends of my entire life is getting married tomorrow and I am pumped! And thus we will now talk about how marriage affects your health. Also, I am frightened because that means I have officially arrived at this age where it's okay to be marrying someone and maybe even having kids, and this is scaring the shit out of me, let me be honest with you, because I'm a kid myself. A super nerdy kid that has done a few years of uni, but still a kid, okay? So we've probably all heard that marriage is supposed to be so good for your health. Even if you didn't know it before, you probably saw the thumbnail and title of this video and figured as much. So let's first of all make clear that studying the correlation between something like marriage and health is pretty easy. You take a bunch of married people and a bunch of unmarried ones and compare their mental and physical health and then make simple-ish statistical tests to see whether one group is healthier than the other. And that sounds about right to everyone who is not a scientist themselves, but correlation is no causation. So just because a lot of brown-eyed people are cool, this does not mean that being brown-eyed makes you cool. In the same way, the relationship between marriage and health is complex. Marital status can both affect health outcomes and be affected by them. This means that it's not only that marriage is good for people, but it could be the other way around. That healthier people may have a better chance of marrying and staying married because they may be viewed as more desirable marriage partners based on their physical attractiveness, earnings potential, mental well-being, degree of self-sufficiency, or likely longevity. If this selection of healthy people into marriage is the only reason for the correlation between marriage and health, then marriage is not causing better health. Instead, the observed health differences between married and unmarried people are the result of healthier people being more likely to marry. On the other hand, there may as well be a true causal link between marriage and better health. A spouse may play an important role in monitoring and encouraging healthy behaviors, such as good eating habits and regular exercise, as well as in discouraging unhealthy ones, such as smoking or heavy drinking. Marriage may also provide an emotionally fulfilling, intimate relationship, satisfying the need for social connection, which could have implications on both physical and mental health. Most researchers conclude that the association between marriage and health represents a combination of the selection of healthier people into marriage and the true health benefits from marriage. So yes, both ways are probably true. Now, while it is true that marital status can both affect health outcomes and be affected by the health status of people who do get married, in this video, the literature I'm going to be talking about, and which you can as always find in the description box below and read yourself if in need of more in-depth information, is consisting of studies that use really conclusive and well thought through setups and statistics which do account for the effect of the selection of healthy people into marriage, and thus are more likely to indeed show what effect the marriage itself has on health and not the health on the possibility of getting married. So here we go. Number 1. Many studies have pointed to a strong relationship between marriage and longevity, which means that married people live longer than unmarried ones. But here we have the problem that the studies I found did not take into account the healthier people getting married in the first place perspective, because let's not forget that it's pretty hard to do that when you cannot have the same person being married for their entire life and then not being married at the same time to compare. So I'm still mentioning this here as a robust science either way because there are so many studies that show it, and it's not just some random correlation 1 or 2 studies found and others contradicted. Married people live significantly longer than non-married people, and that is consistent over tons of studies with tons of data. Number 2, marriage reduces heavy drinking and overall alcohol consumption, and that effects are similar for young men and young women. Number 3, Marriage is also associated with reduced marijuana use for young men. So drinking less and using less drugs are both pretty positive behavioral changes that happen with marriage. People overall use less substances that would harm their bodies. In contrast to that, studies of the effect of marriage on weight and physical activity suggest that marriage may have a negative effect on healthy behaviors and may encourage a more sedentary lifestyle. Several studies find that marriage leads to modest weight increases for both men and women. Typically less than 5 pounds, but still. You for sure have heard shit like, oh, I don't need to exercise, I already have a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. Well, exercise is not only good for finding a partner who likes your butt and stays for your personality, but mainly for your physical and mental health. Just saying this, I already have a partner so I don't need to exercise or eat healthy or stuff, is just pissing me off. I personally do not exercise, but that has nothing to do with my partner. He just does almost every day, so I think that's enough for both of us, okay? Where was I? Marriage. Marriage is good for our health, yeah, okay. Number 4. There's a positive effect of marriage on how men rate their overall physical health status, so how they feel they are doing physically, but this does not mean that they are indeed healthier. Also, number 5, there's a positive effect on women's physical health as measured in specific health conditions and illnesses like several cardiovascular stuff. And even though that's not biology, number 6, married people spend less time and money in hospitals, although that has not only to do with you being healthier, but also that you have a partner who can tend to you when you are not yet completely fine. Number 7, marriage reduces depressive symptoms for both men and women. And last but not least of the advantages, number 8, marriage shows in over 60 studies a negative association between marriage and crime. This means that married people commit less crimes. Studies that also attend to relationship quality, so investigate how the relationship actually is between the partners, tend to show that men in good relationships are even less likely to commit crime. Although, to be perfectly honest here, they mostly did not take into account the timing in the relationship that this happens, since, for example, a person who is in a committed working relationship does not need to spend a super expensive day and sign some papers and from then onwards he's a changed man. They could have changed their ways before that, but still, marrying causes less crime. Amazing! And yes, while all this sounds wonderful and like we should all get married ASAP, I need to include in this video that an unhappy marriage can and will affect your physical and mental health negatively as well, and you should definitely get out of there. Unhappily married people have severe implications, mainly because of the constant stress hormones they're emitting. Being unhappy in your marriage makes you unhappy in such a big part of your life. Remember, more often than not, this is the person you live in the same household with. You're constantly in this bad relationship. It's not as if you can just once in a while be reminded that it's bad. It's always there. You're in the middle of it. And this can wear you down and thus affect your mental health. You can become depressed and anxious, and these are not just things everyone feels once in a while, they are severe mental illnesses. Anxious thoughts may also disrupt your sleeping pattern or lead you to poor decisions like self-harm via taking up unhealthy behaviors like smoking or drinking, for example. This all, of course, affects your physical health directly. It has also been shown that unhappily married people are more likely to suffer from heart disease, and this is probably caused by the constantly increased stress hormones in your blood, which in turn get unhealthy metrics like your cholesterol up, which increases then the chances of you having a heart disease. All these negative, unhealthy stress hormones and behaviors will also lead to a generally weakened immune system. Unhappily married people heal at a slower rate according to studies, and the constant stress is likely to make you insulin resistant, which basically means you get diabetes. So people, please, just because generally a marriage is proven to be healthy, do not underestimate the detrimental effects of an unhappy one, and get out of there as fast as you can. To end on a more positive note though, a divorce is thankfully relatively easy to get, so yeah! Take care and don't feel trapped in an unhealthy relationship. What? Not positive enough? Well, I think it's impressively positive that most marriages are good for your health. I mean, come on. It's officially and scientifically not a horrible trap, but good in so many ways. You live longer, are healthier, suffer from less cardiovascular diseases, no depression, no anxiety, and a bunch of other mental illnesses stay away, as well as negative behaviors like smoking, excessive drinking and such. You basically owe it to yourself to find a good relationship and get married. Like, this should be prescribed. No pressure though. I for my part don't really want to get married either at the moment, so really don't feel pressured. I'm just joking. A good long-term relationship will do just as well. And at this point I want to officially, publicly and dramatically congratulate my dearest Fen and Andy on their wedding tomorrow. I know your marriage will be a happy one, and while I have only met Andy once, I am definitely in love with him for you, Fenja, and I believe you guys will be super duper physically and mentally healthy for the rest of your lives. I love you so much, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Now, does anyone know what I should do with my hair? I'm gonna be wearing this long blue dress and some long blue earrings, and I'm really happy about both. But what the F does someone do with their hair on weddings? Like, if you have any ideas, please contact me, and best case scenario, also send me a tutorial or a hairdresser, even better, because as you can see on this channel, I'm not very talented with my hairdos.